helping businesses thrive for the past 25 years with her innovative publicity methods. Her highly sought after publicity crash course has just been added to our Humanity Stream Plus library, and it is a phenomenal business tool. Jill emphasizes the great importance of kindness in business and life approaches. Her strategy leads to building community, and from these positive relationships, everyone's business can thrive. She's a best-selling author of 4 books, and she has been featured on the national and international media, the likes of ABC, NBC, and CBS. She has shared her ideas on the stages of Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, Richard Simmons, and many more. And welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, literally.
Yes, it is. And so let me just share. This is one of I'd say the more tangible and practical offerings that we have on Humanity Stream Plus. And what I read, this bio is actually, we may say, a product of this course. I think you'd call it a 4-sentence bio, Jill. So if you don't mind, as we get started, I just read your bio, which is impressive, and I know you have a certain strategy that goes into just making a bio. Would you mind telling us a bit about this as we open up this conversation?
Absolutely. You know, I am a practical, tactical kind of woman. And the great news is, in terms of your audience, is that I actually am able to walk both worlds, the spiritual and the business, and I'm a bridge on that. And so here's what I found about many people is they don't know how to write a bio, create a bio that's reflective of what it is you really want to communicate, because you can be all the great things that you are, whether they're spiritual, business, whichever, right? And then you want to combine it into a way that can be seen and heard and understood. And I'm really big on simple, practical language that anyone can understand. So that's always what I'm teaching. That's always what I'm inviting people to do. And everything in my virtual publicity course is actually get it done. So including the bio, and I give you the formula and the script and the template to actually get it done. So it's much easier and actually flows really well.
Thank you, Jill. And so what you share in this publicity crash course, a lot of it, first of all, it was new to me to watch, to learn about just an overview of publicity. And a lot of your techniques are calling upon the local media, the local news, and so forth. How would you approach today where so many people, including our own organization, Humanities Team, and by the way, I'm Noah, publicity number 1, you should probably introduce yourself. So I'm Timothy Noah, or you can call me Noah if you're feeling nice. And our organization, Humanities Team, is this digital presence, and we don't quite have a local presence. So how would you share it for people who are strictly remote and digital these days?
Well, first of all, some of my strategies are, yes, local oriented, and then many of them are global, meaning you don't need to be frankly, in my opinion, in any place. Really, it comes down to what's your topic? What's the theme? What is it that you need to create and produce and promote so that others are knowing your great contribution to the world? Now, even digital, sometimes there's people involved. So there's excellent strategies that you'll learn in the virtual publicity course, which actually get you into the local media where the people are located. So even for Humanities Team and those listening who have digital kinds of businesses, guess what? There are still people that often operate, and what's super easy actually is getting noticed in your local area for those people. And then there's the broader subject, which is fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is you're promoting. And that broader subject, we would go and look at the subject matter, who's watching it, who's listening to it, who wants to know about it. And then that's where you target the media that needs to know about it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Jill. Well, see, the problem is that 4 out of 5 people don't know this. And I say this tongue in cheek because this is one of your strategies, is that when we introduce something, and I'd like you to, I'm inviting you to expand upon this, but in my understanding, when we have something that we want to share, whether it's our book or our teaching or our class, that we're not pitching the book as much as addressing some sort of societal present topic, some sort of current event, some sort of issue, and then weaving in our teaching. Is this correct?
That's exactly correct. And in fact, now what I want is people to get out of what I call beat the chest publicity, right? We want you to be representative of a let's call it a bigger problem. Like, it's not what you do and what you provide in the service or, the product. It's what problem does it solve in the marketplace? And that's what we're going to go deep on in the course. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to look at what is the problem you solve and give you some ideas around that and some ways to figure that out, and actually a formula for it. And then additionally, some ways to promote that, right? But I think it's really important that we zoom in on what is the problem out there. And the mistake that most of you make is that you're looking at what's happening here in your business, in your world, in your product, in your service, whether it's digital, whether it's, wherever you may be, it doesn't really matter. And in fact, this is the part where no matter what your business does, we want to create more of a global awareness for it. We want to pinpoint what is the problem out there, not in your office, not in your products and services, but really what's the problem in the world today. So like a great example, if I may, when Simone Biles said no to the Olympics and brought up the whole issues of mental health. Well, anyone that I've been working with, any one of you might be, shall we say, rushing to the media and talking about the problem of mental health, anxiety, how it affects our society. Any of your transformational specialists would be talking about how do you transform your world from, what she knew as a gymnast into something new? How do we transform our perceptions of what is needed of a gold medalist, right? And so there were so many stories within that story. And that would be a problem today. So that's a great way to look at it, and I think could be helpful for many.
Thank you, Jill. And this is another thing, part aspect of your teaching is that, first of all, if ever approached by the media, you take it, even if you don't know a thing about the subject, because it's valuable. It's critically valuable time and an opportunity. And this whole approach, which is new to me, of there is this whole conversation of mental health, and rather than trying to kind of forge a new path, just use that path of mental health to show how your own message can fit into this.
That's exactly the case, right? And that's just one example. I mean, the good news is every day there's news, some good, some not so good. The question is, how can you fit into it, right? I mean, there's a lot of fear out there right now. There's a lot of anxiety and places where people can fit in with whatever your training is, your modality, whatever it is that you're best at. Then we want to figure out how does that fit in to the media? How does that create news right now? And I think that's really important. And Noah, while we're talking, if you would be so kind, those of you watching and listening, go ahead and type into the chat, what do you think publicity does for you? Because I'm going to tell you it does a lot, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. What do you think publicity does for you? Go ahead and type that in the chat. That would just be super. And we can keep talking as we do that. But yeah, the truth is there's always something happening. And so in my opinion, you want to have like a good, broad, general message with always reachable, touchable, and that you're authentically, quickly connected to, that's resonant with you, right? Because you want to be authentic to your message. That's a key. That no matter what's happening, like today, when my power went out, right? I just can handle this because I'm clear on what my message is. And I think that's really helpful for all of you, that no matter what's happening in the world, and of course we know many things are happening, that you can access your message quickly. And then I want you to keep checking. It's as simple as what's on your phone, right? In terms of media, check your phone, just what are the headlines? And then look to see where can you fit in? with what you teach, what you know, what you promote, what you produce, what you sell. And, here's the thing, and I just really want to help everyone to understand this because I've worked a lot with spiritual audiences, meaning the people I work with are highly spiritual, or they might be doing something in the spiritual realm, teachers, authors, speakers, consultants, product people, nonprofits. And here's what I know. You are still the purveyor of your great message. You are still an important aspect of something that can be supported on this earth, right? And then we got to find what is it that you do that helps others. And that's what we'll talk about. That's what we'll promote. And I find that often we'll call them spiritual teachers or leaders, or whatever you're promoting, maybe are a little shyer about promotion. And here's the reality. You're all promoting something, right? You want people to connect to you, to buy your services, your products, whatever it is that you have, your gift to the world. Because I do consider that what you have is a gift to this world. And so the question is, how will people know about you unless you do publicity to promote yourself? And I think that's really important that we look at that. So, as you're sitting here with me, reflect on, what do you think publicity does? Go ahead and post that in the chat. That would be delightful to hear from you, and I can address it, and we can be with that. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Jill. And again, what do you think publicity does for you? Just type in chat. We'll bring it in through this hour, and we are monitoring the comments, and we'll bring them in to this live program. So, Jill, I just want to focus on this point just a bit further, because this is new to me. About, I think those of us here, we have some sort of sharing, as you've said, we have some sort of message or teaching, and I guess the perhaps the conventional or the outdated approach perhaps is to just share the teaching. But really what you're saying is just talk about the current issues, find the news that's happening and talk about that, and use that as a platform to share our teaching.
Absolutely. And you want to use, I like to call this, everything you've got. So, and again, we'll go deeper in the course on this, using everything you've got. And that's like all parts of who you are. That's your ethnicity, your religion, your beliefs. That's where you can kind of come in, I like to call it, from the side door, or maybe underneath the door, my friends, into media, because realistically, whatever way you can get media, it's a beautiful thing, and we're going to celebrate it, because when you're in media, now you control the message, right? Now you are all messengers out there. I know you are, because you're drawn here to humanities. I know you're messengers. And here's the super good news. I'm a messenger of messengers. And so with that, what I know about messengers is that you have to understand how to get your message out, right? And there are systems for it. Yes, there are real ways that the media does care about that you get it right, that you do it well, that you are articulate with your message, and that frankly, it comes out of you easily and simply, so that you're not ahhing or like a deer in headlights, right? You want to be easily and effortlessly speaking your message. And frankly, I make that easy for you.
Yes, she does. And perfect segue, Jill. We have a clip from her publicity crash course that we'd like to share right now. Take it away, Jim.
I want to ask you, what is it about you that makes other people go, ooh and ah? What could you be using everything you've got, right? What could you be using everything you've got? And so that would be a great thing, I think, to talk about. So this could be, my friends, your religion. It could be your ethnicity. I had a woman in this course, 28 years old, owned a digital marketing agency, wanted to start speaking more. She's Filipino. And I said to her, you have to do Stop Asian Hate. And that, my friends, has brought her more speaking engagements, which she wants to do, got her more clients to her business, which she wanted, of course, right? And so use everything you've got. Being a woman, it's International Women's Day in March. Maybe you could use that. I had a gentleman from Pakistan in this course, and he goes, "Oh, Jill, I see this like head bump in what's it called? Head bang in the Zoom room." He goes, "I didn't even think about using the fact that I'm Pakistani." He did a quick search in the Los Angeles area alone. There are 5 Pakistani newsletters. He got in 3 of them using this particular strategy and grew his list by, get this, ready? 25,000 people. Now, here's the thing. They're not going to all be his clients, but he's got a heck of a lot more exposure and chances of getting and receiving more clients because of this, which he did. Absolutely. It's sometimes a numbers game, my friends. You got to play the numbers. Yes. And that was really exciting. What could you be using? Everything you've got. By the way, this part could be vulnerable. Maybe it's something personal. Like I have to tell you, I have mental illness in my family. Well, when Mental Health Awareness Month comes along, when I met Glenn Close, because I was actually doing publicity for the Social Innovation Summit, and she was one of their keynote speakers. Well, Glenn's sister has schizophrenia. And I went up to her and I said, "Glenn, I come from a family full of mental health issues. My brother has bipolar disorder. He's bordering on schizophrenic, lots of depression in the family and anxiety." And I said, I've come through this, right? I've done a lot of my own transformational work, but it's in my family, and it's a problem and an issue in my family. And I remember she said to me, "I'd love an article on this." And I actually got featured in Glenn Close's newsletter, not related to anything that I do. And I really want you to hear this, right? So with that, I want you to focus in on what can you be using everything you've got.
This is one example you share about a race, and in the program, in the videos, you share another example of somebody who was blind since 7 years old, and he never talked about it, and he put it in his press release or something, and that was the piece that led him to being put in the news. So, how often do you see this sort of thing where people have such a great message but they're still relying on the beat your chest marketing? And once you use everything you got, then it leads to an open pathway. You must see this all the time.
I do see this all the time. And let me tell you the last part of that story about my wonderful client who's blind, who's a commercial lender. And, yes, he was like, "Oh, I don't want to use it because people will form opinions of me and judge me. And they decide all kinds of things. And they never see me anyway because he's, does everything digitally." I said to him, "Try this, do it. Come on, trust me." And guess what? Do you know what publication he got in first? The Financial Times, only one of the largest financial publications in the world out of London. Huge. Can you imagine? Now picture this, what this would do for your business to every moment that you see a prospect to actually hand them and show them that you've been featured in the Financial Times. No, he didn't want to talk about it because, he had his perceptions of why he shouldn't use it. And I find this with a lot of people, that the very thing that might be the most interesting thing about you, the heartfelt thing about you, or maybe even the scary thing to reveal. Listen, I don't love talking about my family's mental illness. And the truth is, what I found? So many people are dealing with this. So what is it that you can be talking about that maybe nobody knows or you haven't quite shared? And that's the part that to bring forward, because that's the part that's going to be the most interesting about you. And then you work in the different aspects of course, what you offer, what you have, what you're promoting. Absolutely. But you don't start with that. That's beat the chest publicity, where you start with "I do." I want you to, something really important, that you must use you language. So when you're being interviewed, when you're speaking, I'm doing it right now with you. I'm using you language so that you feel included, who's watching today, so that you feel like I'm talking to you, which I am. Because when you're being featured in media, you got to be talking to the listeners, the viewers, and the readers. And that's what the media cares about. To be honest, they don't care as much about your business, but they need to give value and benefit. Remember those two keywords, value and benefit, to their listeners, readers, and viewers.
Thank you, Jill. And just we have some comments and questions here. So Suzanne says, I think publicity helps us get our message out to the world.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. It is all about more credibility and more visibility. Absolutely.
And we have a question, but before we even get into the question, there's so many things here, Jill. There's so many tangible, practical things that are so valuable when one has a message and sharing it. For instance, let's just say this is your alternative setup, right? But you, even in the midst of a rush going to a new place, your power's out, you knew you had the wherewithal to know that to set up the scene. You know, your books are visible. You know, you're presented in the way that you want to be seen. And even furthermore, when in the course you should, when talking about our books, say, you share, it's not even important to share the whole title and the book that I wrote, as much as just to put in some parts of the title and just use sprinkle our conversation with publicity and kindness, this sort of thing.
Exactly. And this is so important for all of you. And, you know, many of my clients haven't written books, but those of you who have, please insert, whether it's one word or the whole title without the subtitle, because that would be too long, the name, right? So, but this can also be for those of you who do other things, like I'm working with a consultant and his company is called Beyond Consulting. And we say, we want to give you 3 ways to go beyond, right? And that's it. So insert one word at least of what you're promoting, what your subject matter is. It's all good, my friends. That's really helpful and it will make a world of difference.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jill. And again, there are so many of these golden nuggets and that Jill shares and gems. She even shares, you know, how you hold up your book and your product in the video. So definitely be sure to check out this program on Humanity Stream Plus. We have a question from Derek. What advice do you have for people like me who are shy about promoting themselves?
Great question, Derek. So here's the thing. Here's what I know, because believe me, I work a lot with introverts, with people who are shy, with people who, like I said, are sometimes are spiritual teachers and leaders who haven't promoted themselves much. But here's the truth: in today's marketplace, people need to know who you are in order to choose you. So what I know about feeling shy or is, well, let me just say, when you get your message down and in you, authentic, resonant to your soul, in you, so that you're confident. What I notice is when you follow the formula, and it's in the course, I actually teach it to you in the course with the problem and solution, and we've got templates for you. Guess what? When you know that, your confidence is accelerated and you are elevated. What I mean by that is you just know it. And so what I found with very shy people, and like I said, I've worked with many, is that when you have that in your toolbox and you know your message and you can speak it, say it, and repeat it, the good news is you don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to recreate it every time. You don't have to figure it out constantly, right? And that is powerful, because what happens is then you get to speak it with more confidence. And actually, I've seen it again and again. The confidence factor goes way up, way up. So that'll help a lot. And why I'm thinking about it, if I may, I remember a sound healer I worked with, and she had 12 bios, count them, 12. And every time she would go speak somewhere or do her bells or her sound ball, her sound crystal, beautiful healing, people, you know, she'd write a new bio. Well, guess what? After taking the course, she never had to do that again because she had one bio that worked again and again. And same thing with you, Derek, when you've got one message that works consistently and persistently, you don't have to think about it, and it becomes much, much easier.
Thank you, Jill. Yes, it does. And again, I'll continue to say there are so many of these little tricks Jill shares in her video, one of her videos, how to write a bio and what to focus upon, and the different versions of a bio that you may want to have, a 4-sentence bio, a longer bio, and so forth. So definitely be sure to check it out. We have a whole sloth of questions in chat here, Joe. I'll read 2 that are similar. So first, Anita. Anita says, I'm always worried about overdoing publicity. Is there a rule of thumb on how much one should publicize? I've just started a yoga practice. I know there are a million yoga groups out there. What makes mine different? I'm not even sure. Suggestions? And Melinda says something similar. Is there such a thing as overdoing the personal story? I once heard from a publicist that having only one story is not a good thing. For instance, the death of a loved one being the basis of one's growth and telling the same story over and over again. So is it possible to overdo publicity or a story in general?
So I think it's great to have a story that's your signature story is what we're talking about here. And I don't actually agree that you need to shift that part because that's what happened, right? That is probably what caused everything else. And the truth is, I'll just tell you kind of straight, you're going to get bored of your own message. You will get bored of your own message because for you, you've heard it. But here's the thing, there's somebody out there that hasn't. There's somebody out there whose gift of you and your transformation will cause a transformation or light a spark or inspire them. And that's the people we're looking for, right? It's about widening your net. And in some of your cases, it's about narrowing your net. So here's what I think. I am not a boy who cried wolf type of person. In other words, I would agree. I don't want you out every day with a new press release. Sometimes I don't even believe in every month. Now, some people disagree with me about that. But I do think you need to be creating media stories at least once a quarter. That's 4 times a year, at least once a quarter. Sometimes during the month or during when those aren't the times when you're officially out, so to speak, with a story that's appropriate. What I would recommend is that you look at tying into the news. In that case, there's no such thing as, in a way, overdone. Like if there's something you can comment on, go for it. If there's somebody else who had a similar situation or something in the news where you go, yes, I've got a solution for this. And maybe it is about anti-stress because of yoga or how to deal with, somebody dying suddenly, those kinds of things. So I don't believe there's quote unquote too much. And take a look. I mean, when you see a lot of celebrities all at once on multiple stations, there's a reason for that. It's because they're doing a focused, concentrated PR campaign to draw your attention to something. Same with all of you. So I just say, whatever way you can get in, it's great. Keep going and be, yes, consistent and persistent. But here's the other key. I want you to plant seeds. We'll talk about this in the course, and plant them for 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. That way you're looking at what are the months of the year that are associated with your particular topic, for instance. Like I know there's probably yoga month or, there's something celebrating. I know there's appropriate days that are centered toward, I don't know what that person died of or what the story is there, but I would guess that there's some kind of month associated with that kind of thing that happened. So look for that or something similar and definitely ride out those months of the year. That's a key and very appropriate for you to be doing publicity oriented toward that.
Thank you, Jill. So I suspect I speak for many of us here in asking this question. I can tell you with Humanity's team in particular, there is no PR. So how do we even get started? What do we when you say about releasing a press release or making an announcement? when before, how do you even get started with this? What should be the first thing that one focuses upon, and just to get the pathway started?
Yes. Well, first thing is that message. Let's get that message down. Because even though your message may change and shift, as sometimes media changes and shifts, the news shifts, right? I want you to get a good message. And that's key, because that way, you've got it in you. You know what to say, that things that happen fast, because media does happen fast sometimes, you're just ready. You're ready. Right? Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, and in the course, we actually go through exactly some of the what I call visibility building activities that you could start immediately. One of which I'll just give you, start great for all of you, is go to Google Alerts and put in your name so that when you get media, you will actually know. That's important. And put in one word. Okay, one word. So when the Prophet of Kindness came out, this way, yes. When the Prophet of Kindness came out, I didn't actually know that November 13th is World Kindness Day. And we typed kindness in Google. Guess what showed up? All kinds of articles about World Kindness Day. I found a woman who was writing for Parade magazine that was doing a big piece on kindness. Once you go to Google Alerts, what's super about that is that you will be notified and alerted when topics are being talked about that relate to you. And then the other piece, or your subject matter. So that's, find one word that'll really, really help. And it'll start alerting you to that. The other thing I want to recommend is iTunes. Get on some podcasts quickly, and same kind of leverage starts, that you would use one word to let people know what you're talking about, what your subject matter is, what you promote, anything around what you do. And with that, you'll see different podcasts, different types of people doing whatever they're doing, so that you can start fitting into that. And podcasts are a lot easier to get on. And I think that would be excellent. And in the course, we're going to give you some actually podcast matching services that will be very helpful for you.
Yes, thank you, Jill. And so let's say that we have our keyword oneness, say, and then something comes up. What do we do? How do we follow up with, let's say an article is written? Do we contact them? Do we use it and reference it, or how do we continue?
Yeah, so then what I would do is, the good news is, who's writing about this, who's interested in it. And great news is, reporters are hiding in plain sight. What do I mean by that? I mean that now you know who wrote an article. Frankly, I'd go look them up on Google. In their article is always, really, I with very few exceptions, their email. I would then send them an email. And here's the first thing to do: build some rapport with the reporter, or the editor, or whoever wrote that, right? Because you want them to know that you're paying attention. They're real people too. They want to know that you've read what they're writing, that you like what they're writing. Make a comment on it. I particularly love, Noah, when you did this, right? And actually tell them something very specific is helpful. And then say, listen, then you go into really what would be the pitch. Here's something that I might recommend. I'd love to be of service to your readers or viewers or listeners, fill in the blank. And then let them know what you can do and how you can solve a problem, right? Go back to the problem. And also, Twitter's a great place to find reporters, particularly who are into your subject matter. That would be an excellent, great place to look. But what I'm saying is, don't make this like, oh my God, truthfully, publicity can be very simple. I just want you to get connected to what exactly you're promoting, and then be willing to occasionally shift, because there's something that came up, a topic that's important for right now. And that's really key. And I will tell you, because of who I'm talking to, transformation's a hot topic right now. Health, healing, all good topics right now. Mindset, great topics right now. Spirituality, hot topics. These are all great topics, and something that the media is actually talking more about. I remember many years ago, I represented somebody quite famous, who many of you might know, and it's interesting. He's a medical doctor, and yet he's very alternative. Well, he's also an Ayurvedic practitioner. And I remember promoting him to the media, and we didn't use the word Ayurvedic. Number one, nobody knew what it meant, nor could they spell it. So, we talked about the 7 best ways to eat healthier. Well, that's what actually got him on ABC TV in San Francisco. That's what actually got him into the Arizona Republic front page, right? And it was all about eating healthier, even though really we were talking about conscious eating. And what's interesting to me, I mean, listen, what was it? The cover of Time magazine featured healing in the operating room. I'm like, all right, we're in now, right? Because if you look at really how the media has oriented, it's much more in the orientation of who you all are right now.
Wonderful, Jill. So what, if you don't mind, tell us the trajectory of what happened when you saw that article written. What then did you do, and what did that lead to?
So a couple things. When I saw that kindness, number one, World Kindness Day is November 13th. Now, I actually run an intentional kindness community. It's one of the things I do. And on top of that, we run a World Kindness Summit. Guess what? On November 13th every year. We actually just did our second one this past year. So we had 150 people registered, which for me is a really good start. I'm thrilled, right? Here's the thing, because I know it's World Kindness Day, because I saw this article, what we do is the timelines, just so you know, is 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. We are ahead of the game. So we start creating all right, who do we want to reach for the kindness story? Around the 3-month mark is when we're sending out the press releases about World Kindness Summit. And then after it, I also sent one out oriented toward kindness as a key word, oriented toward making a difference, that kind of thing. And so what happened was, actually, I've got a new logo report that I've got to actually now put back in my LinkedIn and my websites. We're actually doing that as we speak, because guess what? People are liking the word kindness now. And that's the word I'm picking up on. Like it's a hot word. So is happiness. So is love, right? There are many important words. I mean, love is a big word in February 14th. Could you be orienting toward that as an expression and a holiday to be celebrating? So that's what I want your minds to wrap around, is that you're looking ahead for how can I create a focus for what my theme is. And I want you to pick one, like just pick one, even one in this next year of a holiday. Like I had a divorce coach, and she helped parents love their kids, even though they were getting divorced, and treat each other well. Well, we did a great story for how to fall out of love for Valentine's Day. And that was the story that actually got her multiple media, connected all over internationally. That story about how to fall out of love was actually featured on Valentine's Day. So take a look. What's at least one holiday that you could orient over the next year? That will help, and that will help focus a PR effort, and be a great place to start. And then look for what podcasts talk about love. We'll just take that one, right? What reporters are talking about love or relationship, and broader would be relationship. So you see where I'm going? I'm just kind of taking that concentric circles and broadening at times the reach for some of you.
Thank you, Joe. Would you mind just specifically sharing this woman that you just shared? She wrote an article. What was she doing, and what is her practice, and what exactly did this article lead her to? What were her clients or her growth?
So she's a divorce coach. And she works with people who are getting divorced or want to, or in relationship where they are breaking up. And particularly what she was looking for when she came to me was more clients. She actually didn't have any. Publicity is a great way. I didn't see any of you post that in the chat, but it's a great way to create more prospects, more clients, more money, more familiarity, more trust, more credibility, right? And that all is important. And so people know your message and know who you are. By putting and orienting her message, where there was one article, and actually 7 of them, she got 7 media, well, I call them hits, or 7 media saying yes to her, literally for Valentine's Day, within a week of sending out a press release that talks about how you can love each other even when you're breaking up, and actually the story was how to fall out of love on Valentine's Day, right? Or not on Valentine's Day, but how to fall out of love. That was the story, which was featured for Valentine's Day. And so then what happened was her phone was ringing. I'm talking about powerful, prospects. I'm talking about clients. I'm talking about a 38% increase in her web visits, literally that week of Valentine's Day, between all the media appearances. And guess what? Her practice got full because people wanted her services. That's the power of what publicity does. It brings people to you. And really, it's the 3 M's. Can I just tell you? Because hopefully you like M&Ms, even if you're off sugar. You probably like M&Ms. But the 3 M's that publicity does is it magnetizes you, it monetizes you, and it multiplies you.
Beautiful. And when sharing these healing, universal truths, then boy, now is the time to magnetize. And tell me them again, Jill. Sorry, magnetize or magnify.
Magnetize, monetize, and multiply. 3 M's. And by the way, that's a soundbite. Okay, that's a soundbite. And frankly, it just sort of came out of my mouth because I'm sometimes a channel of information and messages for people. And sometimes you've got to be just listening to what comes out of your mouth because it's good. And I want you to capture that when those wonderful things come out and people go, oh, like they get it, or you see their eyes light up, or they giggle, or they laugh because they're engaged with you. That's a soundbite, my friends. Write it down, use it, and use it again and again and again so that you are memorable and that people remember something you said.
Wonderful. And Jill, I think we have time for maybe one more story. You shared this wonderful story on this on these video series, which is called the Publicity Crash Course. Again, you shared this wonderful story of a woman. I believe it was a woman who was asked to appear on the news to talk about a topic she'd never heard before, and she didn't even know how to pronounce it. Would you mind sharing the story? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I am. I love this story. Okay, so this woman is actually a trainer, and she helps companies through team building, and she cooks. All right, she goes into companies. She's actually been doing it virtually now and helps companies with team building and productivity. So because of being in my virtual publicity course, she understood the power of using everything she's got, of spreading her message wider. And guess what she attracted was NBC Nightly News, who said, hey, can you talk about, get this, aphrodisiac cooking? They were working on a story for Valentine's Day. See, Valentine's Day, here we come again. And they wanted her to talk about aphrodisiac cooking. And she told me when the producer called her, she said, Jill, oh my gosh, this producer calls me. I have no idea what aphrodisiac cooking is. I don't know how to spell it. And on top of that, I had no recipes for it. And it's actually not what I do. But she'd been trained by me. She knew the power of yes. And that's what I want all of you to really hear right now is the power of yes. No matter what the media asks you, you're going to say yes. I can talk about that because you all know me now. I'm in your front pocket, back pocket, wherever. Point is, yes is what is the right answer. And because she said yes, even though she was scared, even though she didn't know what it all meant, she looked up some recipes. She learned how to say aphrodisiac cooking. She did it. And you know what? She got a little bit over 4-minute spot on NBC Nightly News. Now, let me tell you, we went and looked at the value because the power of what publicity does when you measure the value of that return on investment, she would have paid $720,000. Yes, $720,000 for that 4-minute spot. It was free. because it's publicity, because they interviewed her. Now imagine this, my friends, picture this for you. You go into clients, you say, I've been featured on NBC Nightly News. You have the video clips, you have the radio, it doesn't matter. You have articles, you have podcasts, blogs. The truth is they're not going to look through everything. They just want to know that you have been featured in the news, and it elevates your resume, puts you to the front of the line because you're the expert that they sought out. And that's all people want to know. That elevates your credibility, builds it so high. I promise you, people are going to go, wow. It's that wow factor, right? It's that, ooh, you must be good. You've been featured on fill in the blank. In her case, NBC Nightly News. Didn't even matter that, and this is what I want y'all to realize. It's not relevant exactly what you got in for. What's relevant is that you build your media portfolio and it grows and grows, because that's what's going to elevate your status.
Thank you, Jim. Jill, it's a wonderful story. And if you don't mind sharing, of course, we have Jill's new program, the Publicity Crash Course, is featured on Humanity Stream Plus. And would you mind sharing with our audience where they can find more about you, Jill, and what your latest works are?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. So if you go to jilllublin.com, I'd love to connect to you. We also have a wonderful free gift for you, if I may. May I give that?
Yes.
Sure. Oh, beautiful. So I've created some great action tips, and you can get it by going to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And when you go on jilllublin.com, that'll also tell you great ways to connect. I'm working on my wonderful year of kindness, and we meet and greet every single month and explore and give leads to each other. So that's been my newest project I'm working on. And what I've really discovered, how kindness works with publicity, is because kind companies get more publicity. And it was super and so much fun to bring more kindness into the world. I'm super excited to tell you the book, The Profit of Kindness, is now in India and in Russian. So I'm thrilled about that. And Guerrilla Publicity is out with its 3rd edition now. So lots of good things are happening, and we're just having a great time impacting the world, because here's what I know. Your message matters. It's important to get it out there.
Wonderful, Jill. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, this is just to underscore what we've covered. This publicity crash course that Jill shares with us, that is in Humanity Stream Plus, is one of the more practical, tangible courses that we offer. You will watch it and get very tangible things that you can do to help share your message, to spread your calling. And this is one course in Humanity Stream Plus. There are courses that are so abstract. There are courses that are healing. There are inspiring videos that will get you back and ready to approach the day and approach your mission. And so for our current Humanity Stream Plus members, I certainly invite you to check out Jill's course, the Publicity Crash Course. And for those of us who are not Stream members, first of all, there's a 15-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in signing up. And furthermore, what we yearn to do at Humanity's team is to share these teachings with the entire world. And we can only do this with your help. The only way we can do this is with your help. We're a nonprofit. And so our mission is to make these teachings, these universal teachings, the practical ones, the abstract ones, all of it that help benefit our own experience. We yearn to share this with the world, to help heal, to help grow, to help evolve. And so your contribution matters, and it supports us, and it is so helpful for us to share these teachings. Right now, we are in our year-end fundraiser, and we're approaching our goal that will allow us to translate our original masterclass content into Spanish. It will allow us to add captioning to these masterclasses. Now, this is just a step, but as we progress through this journey together, ultimately, we want Humanity Stream Plus to be accessible to everybody and every household. We want it to be the streaming platform where you can bring in your conscious living room. You can bring your conscious living room out into the world and view and grow as a person, as an individual, as a community. And so I invite us to first check out Humanities Stream Plus. And if you resonate with what we're doing with the streaming platform and with these teachings that are being shared today and throughout all of our communications, I invite you to donate to Humanities Team and help us share these messages with the world. So, Jill, as we sign off together, it's been an honor, and I thank you again for coming on. And I can tell you, I'm very excited to use these techniques, and I hope that we can write a testimonial someday of the great success that we've had for your teachings.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. Such a blessing to be here. And I'm looking forward to helping others really spread their message. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you, audience, for being here with us. And again, I'm Noah with Humanities Team, and we'd like to send you off into this peaceful weekend. Love you all, and God bless.